I transmigrated into a dog-blood drama novel I read last night, a story so frustrating it made my blood boil. And now I'm the female lead? Fine, you damn male lead, with me here, you can forget all about your toxic love triangles and happily ever afters. Jenny, marry me. At the business world's evening party, Kevin, impeccably dressed in a custom-tailored suit, knelt on one knee. He held a bouquet of fresh red roses, a warm smile gracing his lips, as applause and enthusiastic cheers filled the air around him. I stood amidst the crowd, my gaze sweeping around until it met the eyes of Yvonne Kevin's, white moonlight, and also my half-sister. She stood not far away, her face pale, her waterfall-like black hair cascading to her shoulders, her lips bitten tight as if on the verge of tears. It was then that I finally had to believe I had transmigrated, and into the blindly infatuated female lead of that dog-blood, toxic novel I read last night. Perhaps seeing me frozen, Kevin suddenly rose, gripping my shoulder, his expression chillingly cold. Jenny, out of consideration for how long you've clung to me, I can reluctantly marry you. But know your place. You're just a substitute, and you have no right to act on impulse. To outsiders, Kevin was intimately whispering into my ear at that moment. Tears welled in Yvonne's eyes, swirling for a few seconds before falling, drop by painful drop. The surrounding crowd continued to chant, "Kiss, kiss!" Everyone implicitly assumed that Jenny would undoubtedly accept Kevin's proposal. In the original novel, she had indeed joyfully agreed. The result was that after marriage, Kevin and Yvonne frequently engaged in an endless, ambiguous affair. Jenny, as a wife, was treated as a tool to vent anger, imprisoned until her death, never knowing freedom in her life. A man who doesn't know what he should or shouldn't do is nothing but rotten cabbage. I detested him. I raised my hand, intending to push Kevin away. A flicker of suspicion crossed his eyes. I couldn't take it anymore. Just as Kevin was completely unguarded, "Rotten cabbage, get out of my sight." I swung my hand and slapped him, sending him tumbling straight into the stinking, under-repaired ditch nearby. Then, under everyone's astonished gaze, I strode towards the cold, aloof young man standing alone in the corner. Among a crowd in suits and leather shoes, his racing suit was incredibly eye-catching. If I'm Jenny now, I absolutely won't follow her old path. What deep, toxic love? What substitute? Bullshit. At that moment, the young man heard the commotion and turned, his eyes meeting mine. His bangs swayed slightly. His black eyes, like dark grapes, were shadowed, cold yet breathtakingly beautiful. I took another step, then wrapped my arms around his waist, like a drowning person clutching a piece of driftwood. Tyler's body instantly stiffened, a faint flush appearing on his earlobes. I couldn't help but stand on my tiptoes and peck his cheek. "Handsome, marry me. I'm super sweet, you know." Kevin was stunned for a few seconds before reacting. He clambered out of the dirty water, lightly touching the spot where he'd been hit with the tip of his tongue. A cold, doubtful glint flashed in his eyes. I suddenly felt a pang of belated regret. This was the man who could overturn half the legal system. Why did I act so impulsively? No matter how annoying he looked, I should have held back. But the slap had been dealt, like water spilled. It couldn't be taken back. The people around whispered and gossiped. Some even pulled out their phones to take pictures. Isn't that Kevin's clingy dog? Why is she hugging the Tyler family's second-gen rich kid? Is Jenny crazy? I remember she was a coward, yet she dared to slap Mr. Kevin. Seeing the situation was getting out of hand, Kevin's close friends stepped forward in time, laughing and trying to mediate, while subtly disbanding the party. Kevin was the host of this evening party. If I remember correctly, in H City's business world at this time, the Kangs could be said to be all-powerful. As for Tyler, though he now looked like a useless playboy, in the future, he would be a force that could shake the market, Kevin's most formidable and untouchable competitor. The spacious hall soon only had a few of us left. Kevin had always maintained a gentle and courteous facade in front of outsiders, but now he couldn't help but darken, walking step by step towards me. I instinctively hid behind Tyler. "Jenny, I'm counting to 3. Come here. Otherwise, this proposal will be void. Even if you cry and beg me then, it'll be useless." The classic line of an overbearing CEO echoed. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. That's definitely the familiar writing style of those authors. Kevin and Tyler both looked at me. I blinked innocently. This kind of toxic male lead, whoever likes him can have him. I just want to live a healthy, free life. Perhaps Kevin's patience had run out, so he gritted his teeth and reached out to grab me. But his arm was stopped midway by Tyler's strong, solid arm. Tyler's face was calm, yet his actions were unyielding, standing firmly in front of me. My heart felt incredibly warm, instantly filled with confidence. Kevin looked at Tyler in disbelief, remaining silent for a few seconds as if weighing the pros and cons. Finally, he actively withdrew his hand, a gentle, characteristic smile gracing his lips, but his voice sent shivers down my spine. "Mr. Tyler, Jenny is a bit ignorant and has caused you trouble." "My wife is no trouble to Mr. Kevin." Tyler pointed outside, smiling faintly. "Oh, by the way, she ran outside. Do you want to chase her?" The she Tyler referred to was Yvonne. A flicker of awkwardness crossed Kevin's face. He looked deeply at me. "Jenny, you'll come looking for me eventually." Then he left in a hurry. I watched him go, muttering to myself, "Go to hell. If I go looking for you, I'll walk on my head." After slapping that scumbag, I was in an excellent mood, humming all the way as I followed Tyler to the underground parking lot. He walked so fast that I found it a little hard to keep up. A few minutes later, Tyler suddenly stopped. I couldn't brake in time and bumped straight into his back. My nose ached, nearly bringing tears to my eyes. "Idiot," he whispered, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "Why are you following me?" I rubbed my nose, standing my ground. "You're my husband, of course, I have to follow you." "Oh, husband?" He quirked a brow. "Or is it just that Ms. HSU is using my status to get out of trouble?" "So, you saw through me?" I thought. Indeed, people in the business world are all old foxes. A pig-eating tiger type of businessman like Tyler, he's the king of kings. I unconsciously pouted. Tyler's eyes darkened, and his tone softened considerably. "I'll take you home." "No, I can't go home." I hurriedly grabbed his hand. What happened today must have reached my father and stepmother's ears, and Yvonne will add fuel to the fire. If I go home now, I'll be scolded to death. Tyler lowered his head, looking at our intertwined hands. A faint blush suddenly appeared on his neck. I suddenly remembered the description of him in the original novel: outstanding, ruthless, eccentric, and especially fond of dangerous extreme sports. On the surface, he seemed like a dissolute young master, but in reality his heart was pure. He had never had a girlfriend before. "Ms. HSU, I'm no good person." Tyler leaned against the car, gently slipping his hand from mine. I nodded, smiling a little shamelessly. "Exactly, you're not a good person. You're the one in my heart." These words were genuinely from my heart. When reading the novel, I was utterly obsessed with this character, Tyler. His face was renowned for making people faint in 3 seconds, and I lasted 30 minutes, which I considered a strong will. After a long silence, Tyler, arms crossed, calmly said, "What do you value about me?" I blurted out, "You're amazing in that asterisk area." My mouth was faster than my brain. After saying it, I realized something was off and quickly added, "You must understand what I mean." Why did that sound even weirder? The composure on Tyler's face finally broke. Even his pale fingertips were tinged pink. His voice was slightly distorted. "Do you have your ID and household registration booklet with you?" "What?" I was stunned. The Civil Affairs Bureau should still be open. I sat in the passenger seat, bewildered, holding 2 red books, marriage certificates. There was a surreal feeling in my heart. Married on the first day of transmigrating, and to the male god I was infatuated with, there was no use regretting it now. Tyler leaned over to buckle my seatbelt for me. His captivating voice, combined with the faint orange scent of his body wash, made my heart beat uncontrollably faster. I enthusiastically kissed the red book, refuting, "I don't regret it at all." "Idiot," Tyler chuckled. "Tyler, are we going home now?" When he said the word, home, Tyler's lips clearly curled up a little. I caught it. Finally, the car stopped in front of a small villa. I spent a whole hour in the bathroom, making sure every strand of my hair was beautifully disheveled before simply wrapping myself in a towel and coming out. Tyler glanced at me, then continued to look down at his documents. "Dry your hair and go to bed early. The bedroom door lock is broken. If you're scared, you can use a chair to block it." I licked my lips, a little disappointed, and reminded him, "We're husband and wife, you know." So, you ask so, don't we sleep together?" The atmosphere instantly became much hotter. "If we sleep together, don't expect to actually sleep." Tyler instinctively reached for a cigarette, then for some reason didn't light it, putting it back in the pack. He then frowned, a little annoyed. I didn't give up. I went over to him, circled him, and saw the strong, suppressed desire in his eyes. "Tyler, I'm cold." He didn't even look up. "The AC remote is on the coffee table." "Turn it on yourself." I gritted my teeth, decided to go all out, and audaciously sat on his lap. "I'm cold, hug me." Tyler's body immediately stiffened. His eyes slowly turned red and his voice was a little fierce. "Do you know what you're doing? Get down." Not only did I not get down, but I also fearlessly rubbed against him. Tyler let out a soft groan. He wrapped his arm around my waist, lifted me onto the desk, and then pressed himself between my legs. Seeing my panicked, scared expression, he lowered his eyes and smiled seductively. "I told you, I'm no gentleman." "What a coincidence, neither am I." I forced myself to calm down, actively reached out to unbutton his shirt, but my fingers couldn't help but tremble. "Don't you know how to do it?" Tyler leaned in a little closer, his earlobes flushed red as if about to bleed. His deep, warm voice, like an aphrodisiac, filled the small space. My heart rate slowly started to spiral out of control. Finally, trembling, I managed to unbutton the first button. My limbs were weak, but only my mouth remained stiff. "Of course, I'm full of experience. You have none, so you'll have to listen to my command." I led Tyler to the bed and pushed him forcefully. He complied, falling onto the soft mattress, his expression saying, "Whatever you want." His eyes were like beautiful little hooks, captivating me, making me utterly infatuated. So much so that after unbuckling his belt, I forgot what to do next. Tyler chuckled softly. "So much experience, huh?" I bit my lip. Just as I was still dazed, Tyler suddenly flipped me over, pinning me underneath. He used the very belt I had struggled so hard to remove to tie my hands above my head. I was confused, about to ask what he meant, when his lips sealed mine. He climbed mountains and boxed you around. His muscles were incredibly firm. Every movement was filled with power. I was like a small boat swaying in the wind, tossed up and down by wave after wave, sinking and rising until the dark clouds could no longer hold back, and the wind raged and the rain poured. In my mind, there was only one thought: pure, truly pure, wicked, truly wicked. Finally, as dawn broke, I vaguely heard someone ask me, "What's your name, little darling?" As I opened my mouth, my throat felt a little hoarse, and my consciousness wasn't entirely awake. I didn't fully realize that the question was a bit off. "Where do you live? I'm an orphan, I have no home." "Now you do," Tyler replied, pulling the blanket over me. I yawned, buried my head in the pillow, and sank into a deep sleep. The next day, I woke up and looked at the red marks on my wrists, muttering under my breath, "Beast!" I had narrowly escaped Kevin's wolf den, only to stumble into this tiger's lair. The villa was empty. Tyler was nowhere to be found. My clothes from last night were ravaged beyond recognition. I reluctantly adjusted them a bit and put them on, preparing to go to work. But just as I opened the door, I immediately came face to face with Tyler, who was standing outside. I stared at him blankly. He held shopping bags in one hand and was secretly smoking a cigarette in the other. His eyes lingered on the red mark on my collar for a few seconds, then he quickly wiped the red stain from his fingertips. "Did you buy these specially for me?" I pointed at the pile of women's clothes in his shopping bag. If I wasn't mistaken, there were even a few very cute little things inside. "Just saw them, so I picked up a few things," Tyler replied awkwardly. Looking at these incredibly carefully selected items, I couldn't help but curve my lips. "Then next time, incidentally buy a few more, okay? I like my skirts a bit short." After saying that, I leaned in and pecked him. He turned his face away, his neck flushing red, and he coughed on the cigarette in his hand. I stared at his reddened fingers, feeling a little heartbroken. "Then don't smoke anymore after this, okay?" Living with Tyler for a long time, I discovered that he was a workaholic. On the surface, he seemed lazy and listless, always out playing, but in reality, he worked harder than anyone. I ran my own flower shop and rarely visited his company. Each time I went, it was basically to deliver documents to him. But this time, when I went to deliver documents, I saw someone else in Tyler's office besides him: Yvonne. In the original novel, it was mentioned that Yvonne and Tyler graduated from the same university. Tyler was her senior and later became her boss. Tyler had a solitary personality, loved deadly extreme sports, and was fiercely aggressive. Yvonne had just joined the company. She was gentle, calm, delicate, and soft. She loved to follow behind him, asking questions, like a ray of light shining into his gray and boring life. As time went by, Tyler gradually developed some peculiar feelings for Yvonne. However, because of the relationship between Kevin and Yvonne, he always buried these feelings deep in his heart, even remaining unmarried his entire life because of it. Although I met him before the romantic storyline between Yvonne and Tyler began, and even married him, the power of the original plot was always incredibly strong. Would it be possible that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't change the direction of the novel? The thought sent shivers down my spine. "Darling, why aren't you coming in?" Tyler had just spoken when Yvonne's gaze immediately turned to me. She said, a little surprised, "Sister HSU, why are you here?" I handed the documents to Tyler. Before I could even open my mouth, he wrapped one arm around my waist. "My wife." Yvonne's eyes widened. "You two are really married? Congratulations." But her tone couldn't hide its sourness. "Tyler, is this the plan you wrote?" Yvonne nodded, pouting slightly. "Senior, what do you think?" "Pretty good. Where are you planning to send it? Stand-up comedy? Or CCTV's comedy sketch show? There's a section in the middle, a collection of jokes. I think it suits you perfectly." Yvonne's face immediately turned pale. I also suddenly remembered the fear of being scolded by the boss. Tyler handed the plan back to her. "In the future, don't show this to me. Just give it to your director. Wife, don't you agree?" I was like a distracted student suddenly called upon by the teacher. I just vaguely nodded. "Yes. Also, there are company rules. From now on, you're not allowed to call me senior. Call me Mr. Tyler." Yvonne bit her lip. "Yes. And your clothes, go back and read the company's dress code carefully. If it happens again, the Human Resources Department will be the one coming to find you." "I understand." Tyler frowned. "Anything else?" Yvonne shook her head. "Then go back to work quickly. My wife and I have things we want to talk about." Yvonne ran off with teary eyes. This was probably the first time the novel's pure, white moonlight beauty had to endure such humiliation. I cackled gleefully, extremely pleased. From the corner of my eye, I caught Tyler staring at me. I immediately corrected my posture, straightening my back. "What do you want to tell me?" Tyler made a shush motion, then pulled the curtains to close the office and softly leaned close to my ear. Just as I was nervously waiting for him to announce something incredibly serious, I suddenly heard two words. "I miss you." Tyler shed his sharp, cold demeanor, his body falling into mine as if all strength had left him. His lips brushed my collarbone. The scent of orange body wash mixed with the faint, minty fragrance of cigarettes was truly captivating and alluring. My heart rate immediately soared to 200 beats per minute. Neither of us had ever been in love before, both starting from the same point. But how did he become so naturally skilled at this? So annoying? "Wife, I have a headache." My crush brain immediately went online. "Let me rub it for you." That's good, darling." If a staff member had walked in at that moment, they would have witnessed this overly sweet scene. I sat on the leather sofa in the office. Tyler had taken off his outer suit jacket and was resting his head on my lap, his eyes closed. Watching the people passing by outside the window, my heart felt stuck in my throat, afraid someone might suddenly burst in. Tyler seemed genuinely tired. Faint dark circles appeared under his eyes. "Darling, something has happened at the company recently. I have to work overtime." This wasn't the first time Tyler had told me this, but I clearly remembered that in the original novel, Tyler's career developed incredibly smoothly, not difficult like this. Although it felt very strange, I just replied with a single, "Yes." His breathing was steady and light. Tyler seemed to have fallen asleep. I stared at his slender waist, my heart stirring a little. I couldn't resist reaching out to caress it. Tyler groaned softly in pain, opening his eyes. Our eyes met. I suspiciously lifted the hem of his shirt and immediately saw a very large bruise. "What happened?" Tyler covered the bruise with his hand, smiling. "Nothing, just an accidental fall. Darling, I have to work now. I'll have the driver take you home, okay?" But before I could finish speaking, Tyler had already called the driver. I reluctantly left the company, suddenly remembering a story I had heard when Tyler came to pick me up from my flower shop last week. At that time, a group of motorcyclists rode up, looked at Tyler, and patted their helmets. "Brother Tyler, we just found a thrilling new road. Want to go for a spin?" Tyler frowned, pointing to the bicycle he used to pick me up. "From now on, I'm using this." The young leader, half pitying, half teasing, said, "Who knew Brother Tyler would become a wife-slave after marriage? You've gotten so timid." The girl next to him slapped his head. "What the hell do you know? Once you have someone worth caring about, you'll cherish your life. Do you think everyone's like you?" The young man scolded, pouted at the girl. "Don't talk about it. Last time, Brother Tyler's brakes suddenly failed. It really scared me to death. I wonder which bastard was playing tricks." It's happened several times. He then started his bike and sped off, the conversation gradually fading. Tyler and I had been living together for a few months. One day, Mr. HSU suddenly called, asking me to come home for dinner. The original novel didn't describe Jenny's family much, but Mr. HSU seemed to treat her well. Moreover, as an orphan from a young age, I had always had an indescribable longing for what was called family affection, so I immediately agreed. It was supposed to be a family dinner, but when I arrived, I found that Kevin was also there. I looked at Yvonne, then at him, and suddenly understood something. I greeted him grandly, "Hello, brother-in-law." Everyone present was stunned. Mr. HSU pulled me aside. "What nonsense are you saying? Call him Mr. Kevin?" I was a little disappointed. I patted Kevin's shoulder. "Why haven't you successfully pursued her yet? Try harder. That psych and that T-bitch, Yvonne, they should stick together forever and not bother anyone else." Mr. HSU pushed me. "Jenny, go to the kitchen and get bowls." After I brought out 2 bowls, I realized something was wrong. With so many people, why was I the only one getting them? "Hey, how about I buy everyone a wheelchair?" Yvonne said. "What are you talking about? We're not disabled." I sneered. "If you're not disabled, then why can't you go get them yourself? Are you waiting for someone to spoon-feed you?" Yvonne, at home, also shed her usual gentle disguise and said sarcastically, "Normally, aren't these things always done by you, sis?" I picked up a bowl, scooped a spoonful of hot porridge, then unexpectedly pinched her mouth open and shoved it all in. "Jenny, are you crazy?" Yvonne, burnt, revealed a fierce expression. I blinked my big, innocent eyes. "Little sister, you asked me to feed you." Amidst the noise, Kevin, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke. "You and Tyler, you're married, aren't you?" I responded cheerfully, even a little proudly. "Yes, I've been waiting for you to come to me these past few days, but you didn't." Kevin's eyes were deep, unreadable. I felt extremely uncomfortable under his gaze. I was about to turn and leave when Mr. HSU stopped me. "Mr. Kevin proposed to you, but you refused and ended up marrying that useless playboy." "Jenny, you're becoming more and more unreasonable." "Father, who I like is my freedom." I paused, looking at Kevin. "Besides, Tyler treats me very well. Is that psycho, that lawless lunatic, worthy of being compared to my Tyler? Who gave him that face?" "I don't want to eat this meal." I angrily kicked the door open and stormed out. I found Kevin had followed me out. I ignored him, walking purposefully ahead. Suddenly, his emotionless voice came from behind me. "Divorce Tyler." "What?" I suspected there was something wrong with my ears. Kevin's expression made it seem as if he had made a great concession. "Jenny, I don't understand why you married Tyler. What about all the promises you made to me before?" Probably just idioms." Kevin, seemingly oblivious to the disgust in my eyes, pulled out a ring box. "You married him and didn't even have a wedding. But I'm not like that. I'll give you the grandest wedding in this city." I truly couldn't comprehend the brain wiring of these overbearing CEOs in toxic novels. "Kevin, you clearly don't like me. The person you like is Yvonne. Why are you so insistent on marrying me?" "I don't like you," Kevin said in a gentle tone, but his eyes couldn't hide their madness. "But you must be mine." That look, like I was being appraised as a toy, gave me goosebumps. I couldn't help but take 2 steps back. "Kevin, I don't belong to anyone. I am a free person." Kevin was unmoved, his tone as fervent as before. "My patience has limits. I'll give you 3 months to think. Leaving him will be good for both of you." Just then, a car horn suddenly blared outside. Tyler stepped out of the car, stood in front of me, and looked coldly at Kevin. "What are you doing?" The other man continued to wear his gentle smile. "Just chatting," Tyler said sternly. "Excuse me, but I'm a very jealous man. I can't stand seeing my wife being dragged around by another man. When I see it, I want to hit someone. Darling, let's go." "Yes," Kevin frowned. "What did you call her?" Tyler wrapped his arm around my waist, possessively asserting his claim. "Just a term of endearment between husband and wife. Does Mr. Kevin want to hear even this?" For a while after that, Tyler was so busy he barely touched the ground. But no matter where he went, he always took me with him. During this time, he once had to go abroad, so he took me to his family home. Tyler's mother, upon hearing the news, rushed to clean the house all night. Even the dogs in the house wore bows, and as soon as they met me, they raised their paws as if to shake hands. I don't know how many times they had practiced. Tyler's grandparents, fearing I would find it noisy, took the mischievous young son of the neighboring aunt to an amusement park on the day I arrived. As an orphan, this was the first time I truly felt the warmth of family love. At the dinner table, Tyler's mother constantly put food on my plate and kept telling stories about his childhood. Back then, she and his father were busy, so they often left Tyler alone at home all day. There was no one to talk to him. Thinking back now, she felt truly regretful. No wonder Tyler grew up with such a personality. It turned out to be related to his childhood experiences. She had thought that Tyler would never marry in his entire life. It's a blessing our ancestors accumulated for 3 generations to protect little Tyler, and for him to meet you, Jenny. He's only been with you for a short while, but he smiles more now. I also smiled. I'm also very lucky to have met Tyler. Tyler's mother seemed to think of something and sighed, saying, I wonder how that Kang family child will sabotage little Tyler this time. I was a little surprised. Auntie, do you mean Kevin and Tyler don't get along? But in the original novel, they only officially became the biggest rivals about a year later. Their relationship now should be one of cooperation. Tyler's mother was filled with indignation. It's not just don't get along. Kevin has blatantly targeted Tyler and humiliated him. I was stunned. You don't know how someone as proud as Tyler endures these things. Moreover, this kind of malicious suppression clearly isn't good for Kevin either. From Tyler's mother's fragmented accounts, I gradually pieced together a complete story. It turned out that ever since Tyler and I got married, Kevin had started his revenge, causing trouble repeatedly. I couldn't help but think of the time I accidentally discovered the bruise on Tyler, and how his friends suspected that the faulty brakes were man-made. Now it seemed it was all Kevin. My heart clenched, and I couldn't help but shiver. So, what Kevin had said earlier, about me coming to find him in 3 months, was a threat to Tyler. I should have realized it sooner. Kevin was completely a mad dog. My sudden appearance had disrupted the plot and accelerated his descent into madness. In the middle of the night, I often had nightmares. In my dream, there was a magnificent villa and a dark basement. A girl, her limbs tightly bound with iron chains, her skin pale as if she hadn't seen sunlight all year, still bore a few ambiguous marks visible to the naked eye. I walked over, pushed aside her messy, disheveled hair, and saw a face identical to my own. I immediately woke up, covered in a layer of cold sweat. The person beside me stretched out a long arm and hugged me, letting me press my face against his warm chest. My heartbeat gradually calmed down. Darling, did you have a nightmare? Tyler turned on the light, looked at me carefully, and said with a hint of dejection, It's all my fault. I couldn't protect you. But it was clearly I who brought these disasters upon him. It was clearly I who changed the plot arbitrarily to save myself, but the one who bore all the punishments in my place was Tyler. Tears silently drenched my pillow. I said in a choked voice, Tyler, I'm sorry. I want to confess something to you. Kevin's schemes, they were actually aimed at me. You shouldn't have been dragged into this. I know, but I'm your husband. Tyler gently patted my back and kissed the tear still lingering at the corner of my eye. Why was his tone so relaxed? His career had endured so many difficulties and ups and downs because of me, even facing life-threatening danger. Wasn't he worried or anxious at all? As I was lost in thought, he suddenly ruffled my head. Unhappy? I nodded. Tyler turned over, his eyes looking directly at me. Then let's stay up all night doing something that makes us happy, shall we? I immediately blushed and couldn't help but laugh. Tyler, when did you turn into this? Finally smiling. Tyler lay back down and hugged me. Don't worry, with me here, nothing will ever happen to you. Oh, and from now on, you're not allowed to say I'm sorry to me. Then what if I can't help it? Then replace it with I love you. 3 months passed quickly. Although Kevin tried his best to suppress it, Tyler's company still expanded into new business areas and also kept up with the times, developing extremely powerfully. My flower shop also opened its first branch. Everything seemed to be going incredibly well until I saw Yvonne rush into the flower shop to find me. Her face was panicked, and her eyes seemed to hold resentment. Jenny, if Tyler goes to jail, you'll be fully responsible. What did you say? Yvonne, you know Kevin's methods, right? He's already brought people to Tyler's company. If you had agreed to him from the start, wouldn't it have been better? Then none of this would have happened. If I had known he'd do this to Tyler, I never would have agreed to help him. Oh, forget it, talking to you is useless. The flower in my hand fell to the ground. I rushed to Tyler's company. But just then the elevator was broken, so I had no choice but to climb 8 flights of stairs. As soon as I pushed open the office door, I saw several police officers standing inside. Seeing me walk in, Kevin's eyes revealed an unconcealed madness. He stepped over, his hand gently twisting the tassel on my clothes. I told you you'd come looking for me. What I set my eyes on, even if I get bored of it, I'll never give to someone else. Especially when our relationship has just begun. I gritted my teeth. You really are a madman? I yanked the tassel of my clothes out of Kevin's hand, then looked at Tyler, who was standing silently beside me. What happened? Tyler said nothing, just looked at me quietly. Yvonne arrived leisurely, about to speak, but Kevin's gaze silenced her. Tyler actively walked up to the police. Handcuffs clicked, but they were clamped onto Kevin's wrists. His previously unruffled and smug face finally showed an expression of shock. Yvonne was also stunned. She grabbed a police officer's sleeve. "You've got the wrong person," the police officer smiled. "Indeed, we missed one person." Yvonne's hands also received a new piece of jewelry. Her face immediately turned pale. I picked up the documents on the desk and smiled at Yvonne. "You put all your effort into helping Kevin steal company documents, thinking you had Tyler by the leash, but you didn't know it was fake." Yvonne regained her composure. "Jenny, was this all a play by you and Tyler? Call me Director HSU, thank you." Kevin was still trying to argue, but Tyler directly took out all the evidence collected during this period and placed it in front of him. There were problems with the company's accounting books, evidence that he used malicious competitive tactics, messages showing he deliberately hired people to tamper with Tyler's car brakes, and even several surveillance videos of him following me. Kevin finally fell silent. The police led both of them downstairs. As Kevin got into the police car, he suddenly turned and stared at me. "Who are you?" I replied to him in an overbearing CEO tone. "A woman holding a script." Watching the police car drive away, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I thought of the last comment I had sent on the original novel before my death. "Damn crazy male lead, go to jail. Author, if you won't send him, I'll send him myself. If someone like him bites again, it's my fault for not locking the cage properly." After typing that last word, I had arrived here. Perhaps it was fate. "Darling, how did you know Yvonne would steal the company documents?" I lightly scratched my chin. "Do you want to know?" "No." Tyler's ears visibly reddened. So, tonight, when I leaned in to whisper this to Tyler, his neck flushed crimson. "Yesterday, I carefully selected a set of realistic handcuffs and a uniform online. Tyler's acting skills are too good to waste." I happily quirked the corners of my mouth. "Let's go home. I'm hungry. I want the beef burger you made last time." Tyler took my hand. "Okay, let's go home." When everything was settled, the police station showed us a part of Kevin's diary. It recorded his experience of being imprisoned and beaten by his father in a gloomy basement beneath a luxurious villa, a place that consumed his youth. But a tragic experience cannot become a reason for him to harm others. Wait, I thought. Tyler was also locked up at home when he was little. So, did he also? I secretly stole a glance at him, but he reached out and pinched my cheek, tugging it from side to side. "Little darling, I really do love you, but you're also a free person." That night, I once again dreamed of the girl. She had escaped her shackles, thrown open the window, and greedily inhaled the fresh air. Before leaving, she turned and softly said to me, "Thank you." When I woke up, no one was around. Beside the bed was a giant heart-shaped box of chocolates, along with a note that read, "Sleeping Beauty, please open the door." For some reason, I found it a little funny and muttered to myself, "Childish." Despite that, I obediently went out and opened the door. Then I saw a red string tied to a large tree with a note on it, "Go another 200 meters. Fresh flowers for the beauty." I took the bouquet of flowers and pulled out the card inside. "Turn left for 100 meters, a surprise awaits." When I turned left, a life-size standee of me suddenly appeared in front of me, one hand on my hip, the other pointing forward. I continued walking, passing a wall covered with photos. I admired the wall for a few seconds, then couldn't help but take down all the pictures that looked even worse than my ID photo, planning to settle scores with Tyler later. In the distance, several girls holding heavy bags of cosmetics were continuously waving at me. I walked over and they pulled me into a spacious changing room. When I looked in the mirror, I saw a note pasted above it that read, "You are the most beautiful bride in the world." I suddenly felt that there was no need to fuss over those ugly photos after all. After stepping out of the changing room and through another walkway, I saw a very long red carpet laid out outside and Tyler standing at the end. The guests around were numerous. As soon as I stepped out, warm applause and cheers erupted. Colorful ribbons floated down from the sky. Tyler ran towards me, the wind blowing his bangs, revealing the beautiful curve of his brow bone. The dog wearing a bow that I had seen before was now wearing a vest, proudly wiggling its butt, carrying 2 sparkling diamond rings on its back. If it hadn't dropped them on stage while enthusiastically wiggling, then this scene would probably have been enough for it to brag about for its entire doggy life. After the simple ceremonies ended, I couldn't help but quietly ask Tyler, "When did you start planning this wedding?" Tyler's eyes were fixed on me, not leaving for a moment. "Right after I first saw you." After 3 rounds of drinks, some friends suggested playing a game. One of them was for the bride to guide the groom to say designated keywords written on a whiteboard. 2 words, "my wife." "This is too easy." I looked at Tyler, then pointed to myself and asked, "Who am I?" Everyone around burst into laughter. Tyler, without hesitation, his voice serious and solemn, replied, "The person I want to spend my entire life with."